I think we should get started.
Right. Shall we start?
Yeah.
Okay, good evening, everyone. Thank you so much for joining us. My name is Vivek Krishnaswamy, and I'm an intern at Lumos Learning. As you guys know, the pandemic has wreaked havoc across the board, and in the HR industry, it's been no exception. So whether you're a candidate looking for a new job or someone looking to hire talent, things aren't easy, especially when you have to do everything online. And out of all the hiring methods that we have out there, campus recruitment, the one where physical appearance is the most required, is also the most sought after. But why campus recruitment? It's mostly because it's a great way to find fresh talent while simultaneously creating a large pool of opportunities for students. And by starting with internships and entry-level jobs, companies can pace up their hiring process and they can grow more in the long run. Every year, about 800 organizations develop and nurture more than 100,000 graduates from over 3,500 schools in India. But like everything, campus recruitment comes with its own set of challenges. So some of them are attracting quality talent, managing hiring drives, assessing candidates, whether they fit properly, and more often than not, new graduates are not market ready. On top of this, around 80% of companies face logistical issues while conducting their drives. It could be something related to the registration process or something about the venue, anything. 60% of companies have trouble choosing suitable screening assessments, and 45% of them feel that the grading process is very stressful. All in all, the current process wastes a lot of manpower, time, and money. At the end of the day, the failure rate for new hires is a whopping 46%. Clearly, there's a lot to fix, and today we have a fantastic panel to talk about how we're going to fix it. Sunita has been a training placement officer for more than 10 years and is currently pursuing her PhD. Naveen has 16 years of HR experience under his belt and is currently head of HR for TE Connectivity Thailand and Asian Automotive HR business partner. Harshit is a placement officer at NIE Mysore and has worked with other universities as a placement officer for the last decade. Mukta ma'am, one of our own senior team leaders, takes care of Lumos Learning's HR and legal needs and has over 10 years of experience in talent acquisition. She's also pursuing a PhD in law. Finally, we have Kusumita, who is a Lumos Learning intern just like me and is currently pursuing international finance at Jain University. A few housekeeping rules before we get started. I'd like all of our viewers to keep themselves muted if they're not speaking. All of our participants, panelists, this is for you. If you are not speaking, please keep yourself muted. And if you'd like to say something, feel free to raise your hand or just unmute yourself and interject at the right time. If you have any technical difficulties, please feel free to put them in the chat box. And if you have any questions, please wait to ask them towards the end. Put those as well in the chat box so that I can bring them up and pose them to our panelists. If at any point I'm facing any technical difficulties or you can't hear me, please do let me know, and we'll definitely get that sorted out. So with no further ado, I'd like to welcome all of our panelists and thank you so much for joining us today. I hope you all are doing good. Are you all comfortable? Do you have anything that you need, or can we get started?
Yes, please.
Yes, Vivek.
Awesome. So my first question, I'd like to ask Naveen, do you agree that campus recruitment is one of the most sought after sources of talent acquisition, especially for companies like TE Connectivity?
Sure, Vivek.
first and foremost thing, the relevancy never changes. Okay, it's most sought after and definitely plays a crucial role, especially for a manufacturing company like us. E connectivity, also known as Tyco Electronics connectivity, it's an 80-year-old organization, right? And these kind of legacy organization, core organizations, they need continuous supply of talent. And we are talking about talent supply from a wide spectrum. I may quote names of Ivy League institutions in B schools, or it could be ITI institution, okay, which is a completely different spectrum, right? So we hire people from all of these as a manufacturing organization, and economic challenges like the pandemic that we are encountering, that I guess it's not stopping us per se. What stops us sometimes is a business model. Okay, now, if a company like T Connectivity has a big presence for automotive as an industry, has the industry got impacted, automotive industry got impacted because of pandemic, then probably there is probably you can say a bit slower pace, but that no way it has stopped us, and we still continue hiring people. Is that a major portion of our recruitment? May not be the case, but that doesn't stop us at all.
Right. And Mukta ma'am, how do you feel about this?
Yeah. So yes, to your question, absolutely. We feel campus recruitment is one of the most important sources of acquiring talent from the market. So I would like to add to what Naveen said. Yes. So when it comes to Lumos Learning, we are into the edutech domain, and we have a young and diverse workforce at our organization. So what we have been able to do through campus recruitment is we are able to tap some of the best talents from the market. And for many of our current employees who have been with us since last 8 years or so, Lumos Learning is their first job, right? So that's a great strategy there, retention strategy. And also the campus recruitment allowed us to create large pool of data, talent pool, so that, we could plan a long-term growth for the fresh hires as well as for the organization. Now, very recently, I came across an article which talked about some of the recent trends that the companies are witnessing while hiring their fresh hires, or in order to nurture their existing talent, is that they want their leaders to get tech savvy, right, in order to be more adaptive in this new digital economy and the new normal that we are facing. So the advantage with our campus hiring is that our young talent are already very, very tech savvy, I must say. Say they possess basic to advanced digital skills, which is like an icing on the cake. So we are able to create future leaders much better. And the another most important aspect is that the millennials, the Gen Z, brings fresh ideas and perspectives to the company, right? And they act as change agents. So I can go on and on, but according to me, yes, campus recruitment is one of the most sought after sources of our recruitment.
I would like to just echo what Mukta mentioned. We typically have experienced a bit of freshness, not only just in the perspective, but it's more of a promise as well. And I echo this point where the tenure that they spend, especially for manufacturing kind of organizations, it's tremendous. I have worked for service-based organizations before. The shelf life there is smaller, I would say, but compared to for a manufacturing organization, solid. Second, it's a great source of economic development for us. That's the way we look at it. When we hire students from an institution, in a city like Bangalore, I wouldn't deny that there is a plethora of organization continuously competing for talent, looking for the day -1 these days, day 0 these days, continuously. It was there 20 years back, 15 years back. I did campus recruitment. I was hired from a B school to do campus recruitment. So it just continued then, and even now, it went to an extent that institutions, universities exclusively are being asked by these corporations, saying that I bid for this. Tell me, what do you need? It goes on even now. When we go to a Pennsylvania University, Penn State University clearly gives us, they literally evaluate us on many yardsticks. But do we stop ourselves from going there, or we don't? We look forward for the talent, one piece. Second, coming back to the society development, I would say it makes a huge amount of difference, especially going to those vocational training institutes, getting people from there. Yeah, engineering organizations, universities. Yes, there are options also which these people do have, but how many ITI schools, diploma schools, engineering institute in a tier 3 city? How many options that they do have? So that those are the kind of places where we definitely tap in to make sure there's a community difference also which has been made. And believe me, they have surprises always with creativity, hard work, and passion for technology, especially for core domain electronics organization and electrical organization like ours, which needs core domain knowledge. There it plays a very vital role. I've seen in a metropolitan cities, students get haywired with sometimes they are a civil engineer, but they want to take up an IT job sometimes. And why did you do that? An electrical engineer, why do they want to sway towards an IT organization or probably an ITS organization? So those are the gaps, but that doesn't stop us. Sorry, I took some more time.
No, that's okay. But talking more about these gaps and how you may have core knowledge in one industry, you may not. Sunita, I'd really like to know, as a placement officer, how do you train these students at your institutions to get them market ready? Because as we've been talking about, there are these gaps. So how do we fill them?
Yeah, first, thank you, Vivek, for the intro, and thank you so much for having me here as one of the panel member. So coming back to the training, I would say at Jain, equal importance is given for both the curriculum and training program. So the main objective definitely for the training is like to bridge a gap between the industry and the university. We at Jain University, we have a structured kind of a program which we start for the students at the very beginning of the semester till the commencement of the campus placement. So these students are trained on both the career as well as the life skills through industry interface activities like soft skills, talk about building confidence or empowering self, quantitative, logical, verbal skills. Apart from this, just before the commencement of the placements, the students go through a company-specific training. That is, we understand what is the skill set required by the company who are ready to visit the campus for campus placement. So based on which the students are again trained on those modules. Plus, in addition to this, we do have innovation labs, which are domain specific to, this is helping the students to enrich, practical learning. Plus, there are also certification programs which are provided to the students for innovation through applied research and product development in niche areas like data science, artificial intelligence, or about robotics, design thinking, cybersecurity, IoT, or network security. So again, faculty also play a vital role in guiding the students towards career opportunities and in the process of self-assessment. Again, as a corporate team, we ensure to provide one-on-one counseling and mentoring to help the students, to understand the challenges lying ahead, how to set a goal or how to achieve them. I would like to add, with all these practices, the hiring numbers have definitely increased year on year. And during this pandemic, I would say we had a higher CTC, which was offered as 32 lakhs. So training is like a continuous process. It's not like you start only at the end of the semester. So it has to start from the beginning of the semester where a student starts joining the college. So that's really helping Jain University. Hello, Vivek.
Anything like that. We just are thrown into internships and we have to figure things out for ourselves. We have to train ourselves. So, I'd be pretty excited to see, or if we have something like that, that'd be pretty cool. But you were just talking about how things have sort of changed in the pandemic. So, Harshit, how do you feel that times have changed? How has it affected the students at NIE? And what are your views on the effects of the pandemic?
Yeah, as you all know, the world has been facing the unexpected, inevitable changes due to COVID-19 pandemic. Of course, we have to accept that placement has no exception. In terms of training and placement, everything went completely virtual where students were not prepared. Jobs, a work from home module, where we had internship opportunities given to students where they had to take things work from home, where they were not prepared. When it comes to opportunities for freshers are same, but there is a delay in process, but there is no opportunity cut for any of the students. For example, joining dates for the companies got delayed, but opportunities are the same. For example, at NIE, we had 46.5 lakhs of highest package, which was offered by Microsoft. So opportunities are same. The pandemic has affected resource with higher experience, but not for freshers. Thank you.
Okay, so freshers are, lucking out, I guess. So at this point, Kusumita, considering that you're going to be a fresher soon, what are your views on this whole digitization of things, and what are your views on how the pandemic has sort of affected your life personally?
Yeah, so I personally feel that digitization of campus recruitment process has been a really good initiative. Actually, it has been a necessity during the pandemic, having its own pros and cons. Now it has actually become a part of our new normal. So I have observed that, and according to some of the articles that I went through, for many companies, switching from offline mode to the online mode is actually saving time and money for most of the companies. And it has also helped them test the digital knowledge of the students. So this has led the companies to find the rightful candidates without any issues and from anywhere. So they would not have to attend the entire day at the campus for recruitment. So this has also helped students like me to use that traveling time for preparation of interviews and so on. And also to attend interviews on time from anywhere. Also, students would not be that anxious or worried about the interviews as they would be for online interviews. This is because of digitization. I could say that people or students have become more confident during interviews because of that mindset that we are attending interviews on gadget screens. So this is my opinion about digitization during the pandemic.
That's so true. It's much easier for me to be sitting in my home. That comfort level is a lot more when I'm talking to people of some seniority and things like that. But talking about this whole digitization thing, it probably changes the game plan, or the strategies that are used by placement officers to attract these different companies to come to their college, the whole way they come. So Sunita, I'd like to ask you, how are you guys doing this, and how are you coping with this entire game change?
Okay, so attracting the companies. Okay, I would say like today, company expects the fresher to have some prerequisite skill sets. As I already mentioned earlier, at Jain we concentrate on training programs required to upgrade the student skill. It's the continuously to remain employable in a competitive market, job market. So what happens during the process, hiring process, companies definitely notice that our students are well trained to meet the market needs, and we have most of the companies who automatically visit, and there is a revisiting of companies every year. So university has also been very successful in catering to the needs of the companies since decades, I would say. And we also have recruiters, references, like most of the companies connect with the corporate team year on year. Again, talking about alumni, they have created a positive image in the institution in the market, and have proved to be a very great help in terms of supporting the placement department. Further, we follow an inclusive approach in our connect with the corporates as well, like be it the curriculum enhancement or engaging them in other knowledge sharing platforms like webinars, conclave, and conferences. So again, with all humility, we sincerely acknowledge, felicitate, and celebrate the contribution of corporate executives, entrepreneurs, social volunteers in creating a bright future to our students. So I'm very sure the companies are very happy with the students of Jain University. That's why we have, I can say more than 100 plus companies who have empaneled with Jain University. Thank you.
And have you seen some kind of increase in the number of companies post-pandemic because it's easier for them to come, or do you feel like it's sort of remained the same, the relationships that you've had?
So we have many new companies adding up this year. Even in pandemic,
Yes.
I don't think it has affected any affected hiring.
Interesting. But so you were talking about a lot of different trainings, and that's in Jain University. But Harshit, what are some of the things that you can tell us about trainings that are provided to attract placements at NIE Mysore?
Yes, we train students in 3 different segments. One is competitive skills training, technical skills training, and soft skill trainings. Some of the models adopted to increase placements are we train students like industry-driven training. For example, there is a company called NetApp which trains our students on cloud technology, company like IBM which trains students on cybersecurity, and Nokia trains on IoT. And we also have a module called as TOT, trainers of trainers, where these are called as master trainers. For example, if there is a student in the final year, he trains his juniors when he is in final year. So this will help students to connect easily to their juniors, or juniors can easily connect with the seniors. So this have given us the great results. Training from alumni plays a vital role. As you all know, NIE have 75, it was established 75 years ago. We have a very good, strong alumni base. So we have very good alumni working in a different position with in a different place. So we always connect our alumni with the students so that they train students on different technology. We have 12 Center of Excellences. For example, we have a center called as BFRC, Building Fire Research Center, where we train students on fire safety so that these will attract companies for placements as well as increase students' competitive skills. So these are the major things which we follow at NI.
That's really cool. And one thing I noticed that's quite similar between Jain and NIE both is the involvement of the alumni. So, clearly there's some kind of requirement for that connection between generations. But, with generations, we see that there are a lot of changes. So, Naveen, do you feel like it's harder to retain people from my generation, or do you feel like there's been any kind of change, or what are your thoughts?
It's a interesting dimension from a generation perspective, and I don't deny that you are part of probably Gen Z, and Mukta may say probably I am part of. I hope you're not calling me baby boomer or something.
Okay, so. Boomer.
No.
Right. Yeah. Just to keep it on a light note, one perspective which I mentioned is we are an organization, and I'm not just talking about the connectivity per se. Organizations are there which have a wide varieties of seasons or decades that they have seen. This company has seen about 8 decades, 80 years. Now here it has all the kind of people, baby boomers to Gen Z. Do I have a challenge per se working with or attracting a Gen Z? Definitely not, because if an organization has to sustain for 80 years, they have to continuously adapt. And what are we talking about here? These are people who are communoholics. They love communicating, right? They want social media to communicate continuously. Of course, we do have platforms for that as well. The organizations these days have made sure there is Facebook for work, or we have a platform which we use within our company called Elevate, which is a LinkedIn tie-up company. Not intruding so much into personal lives of people with Facebook, but we probably took a professional network like LinkedIn. Or these are the people who are dialoguers. They love conversations, right? So,
but then with all this going on, it's so fast-paced. How are you retaining these people? With the number of opportunities that you get on Instagram itself, you can apply for jobs now. That's a very, common thing that I've been noticing.
I
So
don't
how do
deny
you keep these guys at your company?
that's the way we adapt ourselves. Okay, like I said, we are not restricting ourselves only to people who are Gen Y or Gen Z or Gen X or baby boomers. It covers all the spectrum, one part. But yes, like I mentioned, one is that they look forward for continuous communication, a dialogue, and we do have. Let me give a real time example. We do have something called conversation with purpose. Okay, that's the kind of leadership engagement that we do, where leaders have been coached on how to coach these Gen Z guys, having a discussion for a purpose, a dialogue. That's what typically they look forward for. Then we embrace vulnerability of Gen Z. They don't want to be name plated or tagged as or a certain category of people. They are unique by nature. So we have employee assistance program, which can definitely help them with any assistance that they need to carve out their career planning, tax planning, financial planning, which makes it very easy for them. And these are all on the go, by the way. These are all technology driven, handset driven. They don't have to be sitting across a person, across a table and talk. Learning, for that matter, there are 100,000 learning programs that across the globe. We are almost some 72,000 employees across the globe with 140 countries present. Here we have all digital training available for them. These workshops are also happening across. So they sit at a remote location. Maybe they sit in a Hawaii and they can take our training programs conveniently. So I would say it's more of adaptation. First thing. Now there is one more perspective why I mentioned to Mukta that yes, I'm happy to participate in a discussion like this, what you are hosting right now. Organizations, they have classified, and that too, especially in India, which is a very competitive market. There is a classification of whole this generation. Now, having seen different geographies, my previous geography that I worked 3 years back, for last 3 years was Netherlands. I was covering Europe. And before that, I was working in US. And now I'm sitting in Thailand covering ASEAN region. What happens is they don't look at it from a generation experience only. Organizations these days look at it, what are we doing with people overall? It's not just about their living. They are having a life here. They spend 9 hours of their conscious day. They need forum to express things. Do we give that forum to express things? A freedom of expression where how I want to be, what is my opinion, what is my preference? Do they get to be themselves thoroughly in the organization? Now, that is something which cuts across all the generations. It's not just Gen Z, these elements. Do I look at people and pay them in a fair and equitable manner? Do I have a gender neutral bathroom, a washroom for that matter? It's a gender neutral. We are far ahead in terms of those kind of concepts, and that probably makes it very open and for Gen Z, I would say.
And I think that's the key that we've sort of seen across the board. It's adaptability. whether it's your policies, or getting like POSH, or your non-discrimination, things like that, your hiring policy, the way you hire, everything that you guys have been talking about. The key thing is adapting, especially given this whole pandemic situation. And that brings me to my next question, Mukta ma'am. What are some of the challenges that you've been seeing while conducting these campus drives, and how have you, or what do you think needs to change in order for us to adapt?
Yeah. So yes, so now that we all agree that campus hires have given us great results, and it will continue to do so, right? However, we just opened our discussion sharing some of the challenges, and I would say that it is kind of generally felt by all the organizations. So those are some of the common challenges, and yes, definitely there is a way out. We can definitely overcome these challenges. I mean, I can give a lot of examples, especially how we as a company, Lumos Learning, did bring certain changes to overcome these challenges. So the first and foremost, so we see a lot of metrics, and I also came across a lot of articles and survey and research papers which said that more than 90% of HR professionals feel that Gen Z or the millennials or fresh graduates are job hoppers, right? So they do not stick to one company. And what so happens is that in a campus drive, I'm sure all the HR fraternity would agree with me. So there are so many companies. So these students, go attend an interview with one company, then move over to the next one and next one. And if the guy is good or if the gal is good, so they will get multiple offers. So what happens is that I'm very happy that there are so many opportunities, multiple opportunities that are opening up. At the same time, since the company has invested, I would say, I don't want to use the word spend, invested a lot of time, effort, money, right? And also the manpower. So I'll just give a quick example. So when I say manpower, for example, from our company the previous year, about 5 HR professionals or 5 team members visited a campus, okay, say for example in NIE. So put together, we are talking about 40 hours of productivity, right? Now from morning till evening, the HR team was continuously working hard to ensure the students, get to the venue and, give them the papers and explain them about what we do a little bit of pre-placement talk. And also they start correcting the papers, and they don't want to keep the candidates waiting, because as you know, the attention span of Gen Z is pretty less, right? So I again read somewhere that more than 50% of HR professionals find grading of papers extremely stressful. Okay. So with all this, so with so much of effort and exercise, still we couldn't complete the process. It had to be extended for another day or two, and then we filtered the best candidates, right? Now, so we know the challenges, and what can we do about it? So the first and foremost is that we at Lumos Learning, we took advantage of this pandemic, and we went for a completely contactless virtual campus hire this year, and we are very happy about it. So as I said, we are into EduTech. We are a product development company. We have a young and diverse workforce who are continuously striving to build products, right? To build products for our customers and things like that. Now, we extrapolated one of our assessment platforms and we used it for our virtual drive. And the results were extremely good. It was brilliant, I would say. And we went completely online, and we could easily assess hundreds of students, and we offered the best of the lot, right? At the same time, I would also want to bring it to your all the viewers' attention that there is some amount of a bias. Okay, we call it as an interviewer's bias. When there is a face-to-face interaction, I don't know how that happens, but it happens. However, with our virtual drive, we eliminated that to a large extent. Okay, Now, so I started saying 90% of HR think the Gen Z is job hoppers. At the same time, there is another data which says 80% of them want to stick on to one company. Okay, they do not have that mindset. So what is happening here? So there is a communication gap which can be addressed. For example, if I would want some company to hire me, or if I want to join a company, I have to do my homework well, right? I want to know what is this company about, and what is the culture, how are the employees, what is the career path, and things like that. So I would say that the companies also need to invest in these thought process. Like, for example, if they want to hire an intern, right? So what is the work plan? Or rather, what is a training plan that is jotted out for this intern? They just don't want to sit next to somebody and see and learn the process. They actually want to do it, which is what we do at Lumos Learning, and that is why we have an amazing talent who just don't want to leave us, right? I would say definitely the work plan that we give or involve the interns in our day-to-day projects goes a long way. It is one of the solutions that, and in fact, tested solutions, I would say, to overcome these problems.
Okay, it sounds like, one, there are a lot of challenges to get these people, and so when you're trying to get these people on board, the first question that comes to my mind is, what exactly are you looking for? And maybe Naveen, you could probably help us out and give us an idea of whether, when you're hiring someone, are you really looking at making sure that they're aligned with your organization's goals, or are you looking for some kind of persona, some kind of attitude? Is there some clear-cut standard for what counts as TE material?
Good. Yeah. On a broader note, any organization will have a standard set of values and behaviors, which totally aligns with the organization goals that they do hold. All right. But we have 3 dimensions to look at. One is something called global job framework, where this job framework, it's a major indicator of where people will get aligned to. It has 3 elements. What is the strategic impact that this particular position is going to deliver? What is the scope of responsibility? And what is the kind of skill, knowledge, and attitude that is required? All right. Now, that's a predominant factor that we start with. Second is, there are specific jobs which are very strategic by nature. Okay, where I was mentioning that we go to the best of the Ivy League schools as well, right? So let's assume that we have hired some people from Michigan University. There, we look at success profiles. We clearly lay out for each of these jobs what is your success profile, how you are going to be successful in this. That drives them a lot, where makes it very clear, is this the most suitable job for me or not? It's not just purely about revenue. It's not. If you tell them this is the kind of product that you are going to own, you are going to launch, you are going to develop, you are going to manage it all the way. Okay, as a product-based company, that's the language which we use, and that success profile matters a lot. Let me come down one notch lower. Let's say, do we have a success profile for recently I had this whole engagement for the last 3 years. We call it as a solution consultant. Okay, one of the profiles, the persona for that is somebody who's strongly driven with the sales and service mindset. How did we go about? We created the challenge which Mukta was talking about recently, going through a whole lot selection process with a lot of manual activities, though virtual by nature, cannot be mitigated. But the way we went about for this, to make sure that somebody clearly identifies themselves with a persona, was having a simulation activity of that particular job. And having a simulation, it's a digital simulation, by the way. One. Second is, it is coupled with an assessment. Now, if I do a psychometric test, an assessment, which is purely connected with the persona. Will somebody be successful in a job or not? Right? That makes it very clear for the individual as well as for the organization. Is this person a best fit or not? There are some companies who may hire in bulk. They'll come for a campus recruitment drive in a truck and they'll fill the people in the truck and then they go. Right? There's some companies who hire very specific, a small set of crowd. Those companies, they look at these personas and they create customized assessment tools, very digital these days, right? You take the assessment wherever you want to sit and take it at your comfort, and then a report throws out to us clearly telling if this person most suitable for the persona or not. That becomes our first selection criteria. I give you three spectrum, how a strategic hiring for a persona done versus that of a technical person versus that of a services-based person.
Yeah, no, I was just thinking about my last internship and how there was this, my senior, the advocate there, he was just like, oh yeah, I got this job because my senior thought I had an aura about me. And you know, that versus the technical response that you just gave, the 3 it's pretty funny how far we've come in the last 40, 30 years in terms of HR and how it's become an industry. It's just really cool. But with the growth of this industry comes comes an increase in the requirements for students and for people who are looking for jobs and things like that. And Kusumita, as a student on our panel, what do you think those skills are, apart from you know, all of the skills and training processes that your university offers? Do you think now that you've interned at Lumos as well, there are things that have been missed out on, or there are things that you need to know?
So as a student, I personally feel that students should gain more practical knowledge. In other words, students should take up the initiative on their own to, intern and do researches in their fields of interest, irrespective of whether the universities are making it a mandatory part of their curriculum. So this would actually give them an idea about the corporate culture and expose them to the kind of work they might be doing in case they prefer working in the same role as the intern. So most of the companies like Lumos Learning actually offer internship come job opportunities. So this gives both the organizations and the students to learn more about each other and to know whether the skill sets match. If they share common interests with the organization in terms of technical skills and developmental goals, then it would be a great opportunity for both the students and the organization, as it would help the student to convert their intern role to the full-time employment opportunity. So this way, I could say that it would help the students gain and improve on the required skills as per the current corporate needs, and it would also help them grab that full-time employment opportunity. Apart from this, I can add on saying that students can also keep a track of the kind of digital skills that corporates are looking for and other relevant skills that they look for in freshers on portals like LinkedIn. So LinkedIn actually posts many job opportunities. So in that, when you click on the job opportunities, you get to see those job descriptions. In that, sometimes most of the companies specify the kind of job descriptions and skills they look for in freshers. So students can make use of these descriptions and try to build on such digital skills and relevant skills. So they can actually go and take up some online courses that are available online, and this would also help them with the certification, which would not only add on to their resume, but also make them stand out from the rest of the crowd being a fresher. This is what I would like to say.
So I basically heard a couple of main things. You got to do internships. You have to keep tabs on LinkedIn, what companies are talking about and what how their requirements keep updating. And you should try some online courses and help yourself grow. So at the end of the day, this is more of like a life lesson. Take initiative, take control of your life, and don't let it fall in the hands of a training program or your recruitment officer. So I mean, now that we've figured out a lot of the different things, like what challenges are there, what skills we need, Mukhtar ma'am, let's talk a little bit more about how this year has gone, and how many students are hired through campus drives. How does a typical selection process look, and what kind of assessment tools? So you were talking a little bit about how Lumos Learning was using their in-house software. Could you elaborate a little bit on that?
Yeah, absolutely. So we hire about 40 to 45 engineers every year from campus. So we look for engineers from various disciplines and also for business majors, okay, to work in various departments. So we have departments like we have R&D, we have marketing, we have support, content development, and then we have publication, we have finance, HR, and legal, right? And we successfully, even this year, we successfully hired about 40 or so, 40 fresh graduates this year. Now, so what helped us is definitely this pandemic. So it forced us to get creative. And we adopted our assessment platform to support the campus drive, the campus recruitment part. Now, this allowed us to efficiently interview a lot of students, nearing to 1,000 students through virtual campus placements. And we assess these students on different skills, like right from math, their aptitude, their programming skills. And also we figured out a way to assess their communication, the verbal communication skills, which personally I have not seen in any other platform happening, right? So we got an opportunity to basically evaluate a person on one of the soft skills, one of the most important soft skills, which helps a lot, both the candidate as well as the company in the long run. Okay, so now we gave a new name to reflect this new scenario, the new use case. We call it as Talent Scout. Now, with Talent Scout, we are able to concurrently, assess hundreds of candidates accurately and quickly. And what I have seen with my experience is that the off-campus recruitment, the major time that is, being spent is when it comes to a one-on-one discussion with the candidates, right? So in order to measure their communication or personality or any other behavioral trends. Now, with our platform, with Talent Scout, we are able to save tons of time, since all the responses are available to me whenever I want to, assess them, I can do so, right? From wherever I am. And also the most important aspect of the entire exercise is that I am now able to fix a criteria, fix the proficiency score, or fix our own metrics, which the company actually needs, which the hiring manager looks out for via the system. So we very clearly can now make out what is working for us and what is not working for us, since the entire process is data driven. Now, after we complete this entire process, we then talk to the candidates, the shortlisted ones, before making the final offer to further assess their fit and alignment. So this is what we are doing at Lumos, and I'm pretty happy that it's working out really well.
Yeah, I've used Talent Scout and been a part of a couple campus drives as well. So it's been quite a learning curve. It's been an interesting game, and I'm really enjoying myself. But Harshit, I wanted to ask, what do you feel universities? So now we talked about what Lumos has done and how maybe a company could completely change their campus recruitment process. What do you think universities can do, and what has NIE been doing to increase their overall placement percentage?
Yeah. NIE is following something called as collaborative learning, where students do interdisciplinary projects. So having interdisciplinary project is a major key segment for our students. And industry is assisted for learning. So many industries train our students on different technology. And we also have an industry-driven elective where a subject is being formed and designed by a company based on their expertise, and it is being executed by the company's experts. So industry-driven elective is a key player to our system. And we also follow student mentoring system, which is also called as buddy system, where one student who's not placed is being assigned to a student who's already been placed. So he would mentor a student to get placed in future days. So this always helps, because his friend is going to train his own friend. So there is more comfort which is being created in this system. Training based on industry inputs. We take a lot of inputs from industry. Based on their inputs, we train our students. And placements are always hosted based on slots. So students will have clear picture about what companies are visiting and what is that they have to take. And we have a lot of clubs in the college. For example, we have Cafe NI Club, where we discuss about new technologies which is happening in the college, and we have training clubs and we have competitive clubs where students actively participate in this club and see that there are more benefits which they take. And we have regular alumni counseling to the students. It is not alumni interaction, it is alumni counseling to the students. Our alumni come and speak to their own friends and tell them what do they have to do to get into the right place and to get into the right fit. And we always conduct stress buster activities, because many places we say students are on stress, but we do not conduct any activities to bust out the stress. So these are the small initiative which is being taken from NIE, so that students will have more opportunity and they get greater opportunities. Thank you.
Thank you. And what about it, Jane? Sunita, do you feel like what are you guys doing to increase your placement percentages?
As I said, we do have training programs for the students just before the campus drives, and also we connect with the corporates on various knowledge sharing platforms, as I said earlier also. So we do connect with the new companies and we try getting empaneled. Just based on, looking at the skills of the students, we connect with the companies as well. And talking about the skill sets also, we understand the requirements of the company, train the students based on those modules. So this is definitely increasing the placements and attracting more and more companies as well.
Okay. So then I have one question for everyone except for Kusumita right now. And I think Kusumita will be very interested to hear what you guys have to say as well. How much do grades matter when you're getting a job? How big of a difference do they make? Sunita, you could start off, and then I'd love to hear from everyone.
Yes, as per my observation and experiences, I would say that grades are solely used as eligibility parameters. That's all. In other words, I could say grades, it just provides an opportunity for the students to apply for a job. So today, recruitment and selection processes in companies have just evolved to suit the new generation workforce. So I think you would agree with this. However, during the interview and the selection process, weightage is given to other parameters like soft skills or online assessment, technical skills, managerial skills, HR round. So apart from this, companies also looked at the skills acquired through hands-on projects, internship, various tools, or extracurricular activities. So any certification the student is, he's done some courses, added courses which should be relevant to his subject. So these all are the valuable indicators, I would say, that the company would like a candidate to bring in to their workplace and not just reflecting on the grades or the scores.
And Naveen, what are your thoughts about this? Seeing as you're the person who's hiring people who, Harshit and everyone puts up, how do you feel about grades when you look at a resume?
Grades are just entry barriers. There is nothing, with grades matters a lot. The only thing which matters is the skill sets of students. So compared to grades, skill set matters a lot. So I suggest all the students who are on this call to improve your skill sets than thinking about your grades. Grade is something which has already been in your past. So think about your future and move on. Thank you.
I totally connect with Harshit. when I was doing campus recruitment for a company. Look, the target which I had was around hiring 1,200 people, and for this first company where I got placed to do campus placement, that's where it was, and their entry criteria was 65%. Throughout the be it 10th, 12th, and engineering. Now, it's like Harshit mentioned, it's more of an entry barrier which was being put, so that if a couple of other service-based organizations, and there were many, I just don't want to quote one, Accenture, Mindtree, Infi, Wipro, TCS, all together were coming with a 50%. There was this company, Character, which we were talking about 65%. Now Character has been renewing its name. It became Keen, and then now it's Entity Data, a Japanese company, right? So continuously, that's the entry barrier. Fair enough, but there are other three areas. First area is the cognitive agility, that which is based on proven past experience. Okay, one of the things which can prove that this individual does his or her homework. That's the fundamental thing which any organization is looking at. Do you do your homework or not? All right. Somebody who does the homework does get a good grades. Somebody who does get a good grade gets a good job. I'm going to the fundamentals basically, but that's where it boils down. That's the cognitive agility of the person. The other areas is, like Harshit said, we call it probably a learning agility, where can person learn things on their own or not, or they do always look forward for something to be put into a curriculum, something to be pushed by a institution, then only they would want to learn. Then there is other areas which are to do with their emotional agility and social agility. How do they build a relationship with people, and how do they handle the confusion or the chaos which is there in the world? The customer sometimes doesn't know whether he really wants a passenger car or a Lamborghini. But how can you convert that thought of a customer, bringing a clarity into his mind or her mind, saying that, okay, I understand this is what you want. So that's the element as well, which we come to. That's what we look forward for. Can they solve the problem? Can they think to innovate?
In 3 points. One was learning agility, one was social agility, but I'm forgetting the first one.
There is a cognitive agility, which is more to do with the grades that you are talking about, where how's been their mental aptitude so far.
Okay, so then for students listening, I think that's something you should keep in mind. Cognitive, learning, and emotional. It's definitely not just about your grades. And Mukta ma'am, what do you feel like? I mean, having been in this field for 10 years, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, so coming to grades, I think earlier, definitely the trend has changed. So earlier I have seen criteria as high as 90% also, right? But then it doesn't work any longer. So now the students have exposure, and as Harshit and Sunita are all sharing here, so a lot of changes have been made to the curriculum, which was never been done in the past, right? So now the universities have come a long way in terms of even modifying your curriculum according to what the market needs, or what the industry wants, or what a company needs. So that is very, very important. So I agree with all the panel members here that grade is just one of the criteria, but not the only criteria. Even if you get that call, the interview call letter, but it is also there that you need to clear the various levels of interviews or tests that you're given. So yeah, so I feel that yes, grade is just one of the criteria, not much.
Now that I'm in my final year, I've been watching a lot of my batchmates getting placed and things like that. It's so exciting to see people who've scored so well, 4 years of the school, and they've been putting it in your face that my GPA is better than yours and everything, but they don't have a job. So you get very excited to see that, okay, there's hope, that it's not just about
Yes.
your grades and things like that.
Yes.
But I've had a really good time talking to everyone, and I think we've all learned a lot. But we do have a question from one of the members who's watching. His name is Vijay, and he's the director of Heroin Technologies in Mysore. And he wants suggestions and best practices for recruiting technical staff for startups. So like to meet his requirements, and challenges faced are, minimum pay scales and which every resource expects the most, and things like that. You can read the question in the chat box in case you need to understand it better. But Muktamam, you could start off by answering, and then we'll go to Sunita, Harshit, and then Naveen, if that's okay.
So that's a very interesting question, Mr. Vijay. Thanks for asking this. Yes, some suggestions and best practices for startups. So I have seen in many companies where the hiring doesn't happen in volume, right? So as I said, at Lumos Learning, we hire 40 to 45 engineers and business graduates year on year. So I can say that the kind of strategy that we used. So we made our assessment tool extremely strong, right? So we want to get the absolute cream because we are completely into a different mindset here. So we don't work as a services industry or any other industry for that matter. So we are completely into product development. So we are building a product for our customers, and our customers are basically educators, parents, students, schools. So we have a lot of social responsibility as well here, right? So we look for some of the skills that would make a candidate an ideal candidate for our company. So we see if there is an alignment of goals. So we conduct a lot of assessments, right from a basic math skill or a general aptitude skill, and also the programming skills. So we also ask them to write something. So even I would like to just say that communication skills is one of the most important skills still, okay, very, very relevant. So it actually gives us an insight into the scalability of a resource, right? How well a candidate or a student or a fresh employee can sustain in the organization in a long run, and how can he or she be more resilient, right? So there are a lot of factors. So I mean, it's very, very different compared to your college days. So you will have to adapt, you will have to be more collaborative, and you just cannot be to yourself. So when I say collaboration, we cannot work in silos anymore. There is a lot of interaction between various teams. So it is all becoming interdisciplinary. So we kept all this in mind and created an assessment. So we are very well able to align the goals of a candidate, because definitely each one of the student has a career goal, with the organizational goals, right? And we are able to match it well with our assessment platform, and we are able to tap the right talent for us. So it doesn't matter anymore whether a student wants to join a big company or a small. In fact, I have seen the trend that many of the youngsters want to join a startup. Okay, the reason being, it gives a lot of flexibility to the students. They can think, right? They can open up, and there is an open door policy. They don't follow any hierarchy as such. So you just if your idea is good, and you can just float it around and see how it is taken. And if it is good, definitely it will be put into execution. So that speed is there, that innovation is there, and so on. So I want to give others as well to share their opinion. So in my opinion, it doesn't matter startup or a big company, but a very, very a detailed assessment tool or an assessment platform is what is going to help you.
So Sunita, as someone who's dealt with a lot of these different companies, do you see any large differences between how startups hire and how large companies hire? Sunita, you've muted yourself.
Yeah.
Yep.
I wanted to answer the question where we have it in the chat box. So as I told you earlier also, we are trying to get more and more new companies coming up. So in this company, when I'm talking about, we do have, it's not only the big companies where we are pitching when, we are also pitching many companies which are just a startup. So because we have branches like it's IT as well as the non-IT branches. So for most of the IT and non-IT, we are pitching new startup companies wherein, as Mukta was also mentioning, we have many students who would prefer getting into the startup companies. So what happens exactly in these startup companies is most of the companies, they do pay not a very big salary. Maybe they start with 2.8 or 3 or 3.5. That way they just start with the salary, but students are happy because they tend to learn so many things when they join such companies. So I was just wanted to just share my suggestion. So I think you were saying that they wanted to hire a tech staff and like how they could go about the challenges. So I would say that as I've seen, there are many companies who start the students with an internship for a period of few months, and then all the students who are joining as an intern, they tend to stay back in the company. They don't actually leave, maybe one or two, but actually they stick on to the company because they're more happy working in such startup companies. I hope I've answered, or there's any other question for me? I
Just
didn't get
wanted to add up to this. As our panelist Naveen Palkar was telling about Tier 3 cities and Tier 2 institution and Tier 3 institution, my small suggestion to Vijay is please hire students as intern from Tier 2 cities or Tier 3 cities where students are ready to work for your minimal pay scales, and they would also have a talent pool there in Tier 2 and Tier 3 cities. So you would get a right choice based on your requirement. This is a small suggestion to you. Thank you.
I would just like to couple to that thought, Vijay, what just Harshit mentioned. Hiring is one part from these lower tier cities. If you do not want to invest any further time in setting up a training division, do tie up with the training institute, have the curriculum set with them, what exactly you are looking forward for in terms of the technical abilities. You invest just with those training institutes and they will indeed coordinate for hiring those people as well. And that will be a quick turnaround for you. And you get closer to customized student, I would say.
Yeah, so just to add on, I just want to make one last comment to the same question, to Mr. Vijay's question. So he has also mentioned about minimal pay scales. So again, I would like to go back to the trend and say that earlier the candidates or the students had some dream job, right? So there used to be some dream company, dream job. This is what I want to do and I want to join this company. But no longer we see that. So what we see right now is they have a dream role, right? So they have a dream job profile more than anything. So if your company is offering that to the candidate, so money is not everything, though it is one of the major aspects for taking a decision. But yet, I would say that offer them a very good job profile, and I think that would be one of the most important talent attraction that can be taken up.
So then, Vijay, to sum up everything, Sunita has mentioned that you should make sure that they have that you sort of advertise yourself really well, show that you're providing different opportunities. There's no reason for you to back away, approach these universities. They're always looking for more startups, and they're always looking for smaller size companies. Harshit was saying you should go to tier 2, tier 3 cities. Make sure that you don't only look in one place for your hiring. Naveen was saying that you should think about tying up with different training institutes so that the people you hire, even if they're from tier 2 or tier 3 cities, they're ready for the tasks that you need getting done. And Mukta was saying that you should get a platform that allows you to really have detailed assessments so that when you're hiring these people with limited resources, you're not wasting your time. And so I hope if you have any more requirements or if you have a specific question, please do let us know and we'd like to help you a little bit out there as well. We have Mr. Shivasagar, who is the Director of Placement at MIT Mysore, and his question is, different institutions, they find it difficult to train students with regards to company specific requirements. So how exactly would you try and bridge that gap? Anyone who would like to answer can go ahead.
Okay, as per my personal opinion, I don't think company-specific training should take place in any of the institute, because shaping the student skill set is important than training student on a individual company-specific requirement. So I would always suggest to go with a general training rather than a company-specific training. Thank you.
So
yeah, go ahead.
Yeah, go ahead, Naveen. Go ahead, please.
Just a different view to what Harshit mentioned. Now, some 4 years back, we set up incubation center in RV College of Engineering. That is with an intent that we will drive two things. One is our university relationship. Okay, we don't look at it from a campus recruitment per se. It's more of university relationship overall, from a student development perspective, as well as driving R&D mindset in students. So we did set up this incubation center for a couple of technologies called SAP Fiori or UI technology. User interface of SAP is really bad. Now we wanted to, these Fiori technologies have come up with, which makes it very simple and handy. It's a very new technology at that point in time. Now the corporate wants it, but the reason why we set it up in RV College was that those students were hungry and in a dire need. How can we make, how can we work on a newer technology which is not there yet? It may be there in a beta version, but still would want to work. Try it out. Were they successful to deliver it on that area or not? That's a secondary aspect. But we did drive that specific curriculum with them, did set up a whole lot office for them to try out those things. And thereafter, we hired people out of many students. But the gain that we had was many people got exposed to a research kind of work versus that of a trial on an established technology. So starting that thought process of R&D in them was a main output for us, main intent also for us. Yeah.
Yeah, I would just want to add when we talk about the training program. So as I was also mentioning, like we have to start the training program from the initial stages. It's not like you're pressurizing the students with the curriculum and the training, but to see that yes, they also are trained as per the requirement of the industry, because today's technology, like it keeps changing. So you have to keep upgrading the students. So we believe in that, and so as we have our in-house trainers, we have, as I was telling, we also have the industry experts who come in. They have the curriculum enhancement. We have many industry who are the BO member of the BOS Board of Studies. So this is a continuous process. Like yes, a little more effort should be given during the placement, wherein the students at least can crack a first level of interview, and rest at least maybe the managerial or the HR round. It depends on the student. The first initial stages, students have to be trained on few basic things in terms of IT or management. Just to add to you. Thank you.
So I just have to add, Mr. Shiva. So my view is slightly different. I would say get practical, get your foundation strong. N number of trainings can be given to the students. It could be technical trainings, soft skills trainings, and so on. However, when it comes to the reality, what we see as HR folks is that many of the students are not able to crack the tests. And if we ask them to write a simple code, they are not able to do it, right? So this is the hard fact. I think so the expectations from the organizations on students is a very minimal, because definitely we all understand that they do not have a prior work experience. So all we want to see in them is their readiness or their willingness to learn more, and how well they are able to gel well with the team, and basic foundation, have a strong, for example, for engineers, have a strong coding knowledge, and things like that. So I would say get the basics strong, and so that will help to absorb whatever trainings are given to the students much better.
I'll just couple to that particular point here. One is definitely on the technical front. Please do develop them. The second element is organization, real-time corporates. When we start working, okay, even now, when we do our job, we work a lot on something that will be studied during the graduation or post-graduation period, like quants, okay, quantitative aptitudes. Guys, you never use calculus, believe me. It was nice to learn, making our life nightmares during our +2s, but when it comes to the real-time job, quants plays a huge amount of role. Be you be a software engineer or a product developer or a R&D engineer, logical reasoning abilities, interpretations, they matter a lot. Faster comprehensions, they matter a lot. Those are reality works. So even if your institution may not dedicate time on that, you please invest time. If something that matters as a selection process, we look forward for that. When I was conducting HR interviews for campuses, which I did even till my last assignment, quants is something which I focus a lot upon. All right, over to you.
Thank you so much. I don't think we have any more questions for the day, but I'd like to thank all of you for joining the panel. I had a wonderful time talking to all for 5 of you, sorry. And I think we should definitely, some major takeaways is that adapting to the situation is what's the goal right now, or that's what we need to do right now. And I think everyone is doing it in their own ways, and we should all be proud of ourselves for taking on this pandemic in such a positive stride. I don't think anyone was complaining too much or crying about how it's so difficult. We're all looking for different solutions, and I hope that's the attitude that we continue with all of the other challenges that we may face in the future as well. If you guys have any parting words, I'd love to hear them.
There was once upon a time this book that we referred to, R.S. Agarwal's Quants. It was rocking then, and even it rocks now.
Yeah, so I would like to give a small closing comment, just that, yeah, definitely thanks a lot. And I would like to say that to all the student fraternity, to all the student community, get real. So you're going to step into the real world. It's completely different. So you're staying in that fantasy world and get out of it, and collaborate more, okay, and build your network, and don't stop being inquisitive, right? Whether it is a correct question or not doesn't matter. So be curious always, and keep your eye open, and since you're always in this digital world, better what is happening, so that is an advantage. And all the very best.
Thank you so much. I would like to thank the Lumen team. Here, listening to Mr. Naveen, I think I could, maybe I could go back and say that what is a company like TE definitely looks at, that he was talking about the quantitative and logical, which we need to focus more on. Yeah, we would definitely do that. And we are doing that as the practice aspect. And as Mr. Harshit said, the various practices, what the college practice now in terms of the training and the attracting the companies. Yes, maybe something I would also learn from Mr. Harshit. Yeah, Kusumita, she's our student. So yes, I'm so happy for her again. She's been a part of Limit Learning. Thank you, team, again. Thanks, Mukta, and thanks, Vivek. Thank you so much. And again, I have to thank Mr. Mukund sir as well. Thank you.
Absolutely.
Thanks to entire Lumos teams for giving this opportunity for us. Thank you so much. And host, you are the great. You have done a great job.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, guys. It's always been a pleasure to connect back to institutions, and one of the major reasons which I wanted to talk to Mukta about this was, if as corporate organizations, if we can go back to institution and say, how can we collaboratively, connect and just express our side of views and make sure that the generation which is coming out tomorrow, it makes them very easy and seamless to navigate into organizations. There is competition right now, but with right values in our mind, be it empathy, be it a community relationship oriented mindset, it makes it very easy for seamlessly navigating through this. So thank you for the forum.
Thank you.
And I would like to extend my gratitude to the entire Lumos team for giving me this opportunity, because I'm an intern who has just started working here from like the past week. So I'm really thankful to you all for giving me this opportunity to speak on behalf of the student committee. Thank you, ma'am. Thank you, everyone.
All right. So I'd like to close our discussion today, and I hope you all enjoyed yourselves, and I'm looking forward to another one of these Lumos webinars. Thank you everyone for watching, and if you have any more questions, please feel free to reach out to us by going to our website and using the support handle there, or you can send any one of us an email as well. All of you have a great evening, and see you next time.
Thank you, Vivek. You've been a great host.
Thank you.
Thank you.